It's Tuesday, January 17th, and this is Drive Check, a Cardfight Vanguard podcast. Where did you go? Did you mute yourself?
I was muted, and now I'm back.
Oh, good gracious.
This Garmor deck is going to be real scary to play against.
Why? All it does is, select one from the top of your deck and...
The Royal Paladin version of the Garmor deck looks really scary to play against.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. You know what word I don't like akin to the word movie, like we were talking about a few minutes ago?
The word movie.
I don't like the word movie, yes, but I also don't like the word show when you're talking about a podcast because you know what? They can't see anything.
Well,
I can showing them anything.
I can see your beautiful profile picture.
That picture is so old. I don't even have a beard anymore. I am clean shaven.
You look like a real cutie patootie right there.
What, with the beard?
Yeah.
Dude, I look like an old man. I look so old when I have my beard. It adds 8 years to my life at least.
You rock it though. You do rock it.
Well, it's kind of you to say that, but I'd prefer to look my actual age, which is, 16.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I'm the big boy in this conversation. You're going to listen to me when I talk to you.
Good gracious. You know who should be the big boy?
Cole
McCune.
Who's not here.
He's, I couldn't tell. I'm just kind of guesstimating that he's gone back to school. Did you kind of get that vibe from his sense of panic?
I mean, yeah, but I thought he said he didn't graduate. He has his associates now, so I think he's just taking classes for...
Well, obviously not for fun with the sense of nervous breakdownness that he was conveying in his textual messaging.
Yep, you're right.
Wow, he's dedicated to the craft.
He is.
Craft of macaroni and cheese.
Dedicated. Craft. It's cheesy good.
So, Sunday night?
Sunday night
football. Cowboys versus Packers?
Whatever. Yeah, I think so.
You didn't watch the game, dude?
No, dude. I was asleep almost all of Sunday.
Yeah, because you didn't go to Vanguard.
No, I was too tired and didn't feel well.
When is the last time you went to Vanguard, Jack?
2 weeks ago.
Wow. Yeah. Do you even remember? I mean, are you so depressed? Because I know what the secret is.
What is the secret? It all
just came to me like a huge revelation.
Alrighty, what is it?
Well, I did go to Vanguard on Sunday night. Remember that? Two nights ago?
I do, but I have a question. So on my way back from Long Beach, I stopped at my local game shop to meet some of my pals who I hadn't seen in a month or two because of winter break. And so I was hanging out with them.
This is what we're getting to. Let me finish my story. Let me finish my story, then you can tell your story. While I was at Vanguard League on Sunday night, playing Vanguard, losing atrociously to such things as Nubatamas and Royal Paladins and that guy who was playing the new Luard deck, but he played so slow that I forced myself to deck out just so I could escape the game. There was something else going on in the shop. Did you know that? Did I mention that there was something else? A Star Wars Destiny pre-release?
Oh man, you did.
Where people have had cards and dice, and it's not Dice Masters, as everybody jumps to tell me, even though I do enjoy playing a good round of Dice Masters, so I don't know what you're trying to defend there. But, Jack, have you been sucked into the world of Star Wars Destiny?
A little bit. I spent 30-something on packs, so I guess a little bit, but not
You didn't even buy a box? A booster
box?
Didn't.
Well, I didn't have the money to buy a booster box. They didn't have any. Well, actually, I did, but they didn't have any sealed booster boxes, and they didn't have any starter decks. So I just bought packs, and I busted, so it's okay. So now I'm officially in on the Star Wars hype train. But there were people next to me playing Vanguard. So does that count as playing Vanguard?
No, it doesn't. Did you give them any advice?
Okay. Well, but the thing is, though, I discovered that there is a Vanguard League at that store now, which is like I didn't know there was a Vanguard League there until Sunday.
Yeah.
So now I know.
Not near Long Beach.
Yeah, it is. That was on my way home from Long Beach. So that was my store in Long Beach.
Ah.
Well, it's not in Long Beach, but it's like 15 minutes away from me. So it's the store I go to.
What store is it?
It's called Collector's Legion in Gardena, California.
Ugh, I can never understand the names of your places in California. They're just so foreign sounding. Gardena?
Yeah, Gardena.
Wow.
It's directly next to Los Angeles and like LAX in that area.
I have no idea. I've never been. So
well, maybe you should visit sometime.
Well, when money starts to grow on trees, then we'll all be flying to California and having a good old time.
Yep.
But yeah, I did play my my Link Jokers on Sunday night. Did really terribly, and I did have yesterday morning. I had a realization, which was important for me, and I think it helps me feel a little better about how poorly I do at Vanguard League. The 50-minute trying to do 3 games in 50 minutes time frame and format is not where I am at right now, and I need to be able to think more about my moves and not be accused of slow playing. Not as slow playing as the guy with the Luard deck, but I do need time to think through the stages I want to take in my moves to do them accurately. And I get so flustered within that trying to do a set of moves quickly and doing the right thing within that 50-minute time frame that I'm just never going to be able to win. I still enjoy playing and being around people and everything, but that format is not anything where I'm going to be as successful at this point in time. But well, what?
Are you still experimenting with the no gen break build, or are you back to?
Nope. I built the current world champions Freeze Ray Messiah build straight off the internet. Copied it card for card.
Are you telling me you're a net decker?
Yeah, I always have been.
You telling me you're a debt necker?
No, but I even. Well, did I tell you the story about the Blizza?
You did not.
So I was having a Skype battle with Micah on Saturday night, and I was building the Middleton. His name is Middleton, right? Something like that.
No idea.
Well, you should know. He's the current world champion, dude.
Oh yes. I thought you were referring to a card.
Middlesworth. Yes, Daniel Middlesworth. Yeah. So I had Micah on Skype, and I was like, dude, I just want to like rebuild my deck. I want to do Freeze Ray Messiah. So give me a few minutes. And I was like, all right, I need Blizza for my G Zone. I know I have a Blizza. I know it's been sitting in this box here, unused. Where's the Blizza? And literally for 15 minutes going through all of my stacks of Vanguard cards up and down on the shelves, on the chairs, I got Vanguard cards all over the place. Going through the commons. I was like, where did that Blizza go? I know I had a Blizza. And then finally, I texted my mom. I was like, Mom, in that binder that I gave you for Christmas, was there a Blizza? And she texted back. She's like, yeah, there is. And I was like, oh, no. Oh.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I can't find my binder.
That doesn't make me feel better at all, because now you're just going to have to buy a completely new set of cards and build a new deck, and your Tachikaze's gone for good.
No, it was a binder that's empty, but it was a binder.
Oh, that's all right. That's no big
deal. Well, it had a couple. I think it had a couple cards in there, but I'll find it hopefully before I leave for Long Beach, Grand Ole Long Beach.
Ugh, don't understand these place names. I'm gonna have to take like a language course in California place names.
In California.
But the store Island Games, they have Vanguard singles and binders, and they actually had a Blizza, so I bought a Blizza and put it into my deck before we got started on Sunday night. So That helped me out because it turns out when you're playing Freeze Ray Messiah, you kind of burn through your G zone real fast. So you get to that Blizzard turn and you're doing 35, 40 plus damage for a counterblast. Oh boy, the looks I got on some faces there. But anyways, do we have any other realizations?
Bushiroad is a terrible company.
No, we're not up to that part yet. We want to talk about something good before we talk about something, I'm not going to say terrible, disappointing.
We're all seers and we can predict the future.
Well, or we all have access to the wiki and there's been some cards announced for set 10.
Well, I was more so referring to when we made predictions about what the future of the game could hold. We all kind of said something along the lines of like dual clan cards. And lo and behold, there's a dual
clan card. One? Although
out of the 8 that we know of from the set, yeah.
I did think the same thing this morning.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They're bringing back dual clans.
Granted, it's just for royals and golds, just like last time, but or it had to do with golds.
Well, Blaster Dark Spirit is gold and
shadows. Yeah, so that's what I was correcting. I was attempting to correct myself. But we haven't had an errata in a while, so I probably shouldn't have corrected myself.
Well, we'll come back to it again next week just to reinforce our disappointment in the quality of your communications.
Cool.
Sword Fang Fierce Battle. Boy. I'm not caught up to Vanguard Next yet. I'm watching Vanguard Stridegate, but is that show just depressing. It's real depressing. And I'm kind of scared at the point I'm up to right now, so.
I wouldn't know, but I'm going to believe you.
Well, you should take a little bit of time and watch those Vanguard cartoons. They're not that bad. I mean, obviously they're not tier 1 anime, but they're like tier 7 anime.
I'm too busy watching Dragon Ball Z and crying while I cradle my deck.
Sword Fang Fierce Battle. So we've got a few cards. So this is going to be set 10. Do we have a date? April.
For the United States, yes. April sometime. We don't have an exact date.
February 3rd in Japan, April in the US. And it's going to have Royals, Shadows, Golds, Tachikaze, Murakamo getting over-supported because that clan is just straight trash. Nova Grapplers and Neonectars and a couple of Cray Elementals. Of note, what's kind of funny is they are doing a bunch of reprints again, and they're reprinting Aurageyser Dragon again.
Oh man,
they can't drive that price down far enough on that card. But you need it for your shadow build, so
you do.
May as well have it. But so you're excited for Golden Knight of Shining Fang Garmor?
Oh yeah.
Who is a Stride?
Can I read this card off now?
Dude.
Or are you going to read it?
I mean, if you need to read it off, read it off. Usually you do that kind of thing in private, but go right ahead.
Alrighty then. Activated ability from the Vanguard Circle. Once per turn, Genbreak 2. Choose a card from your drop zone, put it on the bottom of your deck, then reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose the same number of your units as the number of high beasts revealed with this effect, and until the end of the turn, they get power plus 4,000. If 4 or more are revealed, then this unit gets crit plus 1, and then you shuffle your deck. And then Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. If you have a heart card with Garmor in its card name, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, search for up to 1 card from among them, and call it to rearguard. Shuffle your deck. So you can call up to 5 units with no cost if they're high beasts. So obviously you're going to want to put a bunch of high beasts in your deck, which that's the reason this I think is going to be better in. Oh, and then continuous. This unit's also a Royal Paladin, which is what we were referring to earlier.
Yes, it's gold and royal.
But it was kind of overshadowed. But back in set 4, there was a Garmor deck that was a Royal Paladin deck, and it revolved around Fang of Light Garmor and Beast to Night Garmor, and Fang of Light Garmor. During your turn, this unit gets plus on your Vanguard circle only. This unit gets plus 1,000 power for each unit named Snowghoul or Brughoul on your rearguard circle. Choose a card from your hand and discard it when this unit is placed on Vanguard or rearguard. If you have a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to one card named Snowghoul or Brughoul, call it to rearguard, and shuffle your deck.
If you have a Vanguard, you may pay the cost?
Yeah.
You always have a Vanguard. There's never a time when you don't have a Vanguard.
Oh, if you have a Royal Paladin. Oh, it just wasn't in the TCG player. Never mind.
All right.
That's so there was a kind of a preliminary build of Sanctuary Guard Dragon that revolved around Garmors and Snowghouls to build power columns. Because Snowghoul, well, we're just going through this. I'm going to build a deck list. I'm definitely building this deck. I love Garmor. And then Beast Knight Garmor. Are you going to
sell your Tachikazes?
I'm thinking about it still.
Wow, just built that 5 minutes ago.
See, but I'm testing it, and the deck really hates me. I haven't drawn a good hand once.
Oh, it's terrible when your cards hate you.
Yeah. So, Beast Knight Garmor. Choose a card from your hand and discard it. When this unit is placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, if you have a Royal Paladin Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, you search your deck for up to one card named Snowghoul or Brughoul, call it to Rearguard, and shuffle your deck. So, for those of you that don't know what Snowghoul does, Snowghoul is a grade 1, and it's a Royal Paladin grade 1, and it has 6,000 power, and it says, during your turn, this unit gets plus 1,000 for each other Snowghoul on your Rearguard or Vanguard.
So what does Brughoul do?
Brughoul it's a grade 0, and it's 4,000 power, and it says it has Forerunner, and then actually, does it have Forerunner? It does have Forerunner. No. Yes, it does have Forerunner. And then it says this unit gets plus 1,000 for each other unit named Brughoul. So you're generally not going to play Brughoul. You're going to get Snowghouls.
Yeah, but you can only play 4 Snowghouls.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I guess. But so basically what you're going to do is you're going to have giant columns. And that's how this deck is going to work. And you're going to run High Beasts because one of the most broken cards in the game, Floral Paladin Floghoul, is also a High Beast.
What does Floghoul do? Wait a minute.
You don't know what Floghoul does?
There's too many goals. Do you want to know another story on Sunday night? There's a dude. His name's David. I think David Jung. I can't 100% remember, but I think that was his name. He was a Royal Paladin player, and he said, "I have like 142 Barkles. I collect Barkles." And I said, well, I just gave Alan all of my Royal Paladin cards, and there was a BTO1 Barkle in there. And he said, I want that. I will trade you anything in my binder for that Barkle. And I traded him for it.
What was it?
Now he has 143 Barkles.
What did you get for the Barkle?
Grim Recruiter. That's all he had that I wanted.
So Floral Paladin Floghoul is a critical trigger that came out in GBT 06. And it's Counterblast 1. At the end of the battle that your unit named Blaster Blade attacked a Vanguard, you can stand your Blaster Blade.
All right. And Wingle is the one that calls out a Blaster Blade, right?
It doesn't matter, because Floral Paladin Floghoul is the one that you're going to want to do. No, yeah, Wingle Brave is the starter.
Oh, what's the difference between a Wingle and a Wingle Brave?
Oh, well, Wingle is if it boosts a Blaster Blade, this unit gets plus 4,000 power. Wingle Brave is a starter that when your attack hits, if it's boosting if your unit named Blaster's attack hits, if this is blue boosting, you search your deck for a Blaster and add it to your hand.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
These
so
Royal
this is going to be
just broken.
So I could see some High Beast kind of aggro deck with Blaster Blades and Floghouls and Snowghouls and all that being a good deck. So it'll probably happen.
Well,
as you can see from the TCG player buyout of Garmor grade 3.
Of course. And yes, I'm just looking at the list of all of the Royal Paladin High Beasts, and yeah, they got a ton of them.
Exactly.
Not all of them are good.
No, but that's why I think the Royal Paladin variant of the Garmor deck will be a lot better than the Gold Paladin variant. Which is funny because I was discussing, because we knew Garmor was getting a Stride in this set. I was talking to my friend Eric about this, and back when the Stride was like first announced, we knew Liberators were getting support in the set, and so everyone bought Garmor Liberator, and I was like, hey, we should be buying SP Garmor Fang of Light Garmors because this is the deck that it's going to be, watch. And he was like, no, you're wrong. Well, screw you. I wasn't wrong.
You were right. You saw into the future.
Somehow, I predicted accurately, even though I don't think... Are we getting Royal Paladins in this set? I don't believe we are, so I just pulled that out of my booty. Never go booty first, Will.
That's some wisdom that I gave you before we started recording this program.
Now I'm giving it back to you.
Never approach someone booty first is the nice way to say it.
Any other cards you're interested in?
I mean, we'll spend some more time with this set 10 since it's got shadows, and we'll be walking down that dark road as shadows become the true OP deck of 2017.
I don't know, man. Royal Paladins are looking good.
Yeah, it's a ploy. It's called a January ploy because February through December, it's going to be all shadows all the time.
I'm talking about specifically now. Royal Paladin Sanctuary Guard didn't get hit on our list.
Oh, spoiler alert. Were you trying to do a transition?
I wasn't actually.
Into the restriction list that has been announced in English so quickly after the Japanese restriction list was announced?
Yes, I was doing that on accident, but here we go.
So what are
we'll go over more
our current official restriction list, restrictionones and releaserones for the English language version, the TCG as opposed to the OCG? The OC. Are you near the OC? Because I used to watch that show.
I am near the OC.
How far?
That's right next to Long Beach. I'm like an hour and a half away from the OC.
Wow. Do you listen to Phantom Planet all the time?
No, I don't.
I've seen them live in concert. Go on. What is the restriction list in English?
Well, I was trying to find it, and then there was a press release about piracy, apparently, on the website. And then I clicked on the link, and it said 404 file or directory.
There's always a press release about piracy.
Oh, man. This is... Bushiroad's just, like, getting on people's booties. Specifically where... Here we go. No, where's... Oh, here we go. Fighters rules updated January 17th, 2016. When participating in official or sanctioned tournaments, these are the rules you will have to follow in addition to the card fight rules. Clan fight and extreme fight deck regulations are now included in Fighters rules selection. Update January 17th. Card restriction on TikTok Worker. TikTok Worker is now limited to 1 and he cannot be your starting Vanguard. Card restriction on Steam Battler Urwatar, limited to 1. Card restriction on 7 Seas Apprentice Night Runner, limited to 1 and cannot be your starting Vanguard. And card restriction on Lizard Soldier Conroe, he is no longer restricted.
Wait.
Booyah.
Did you skip... Wait. You did TikTok Worker? I didn't hear you. Did you do Urwatar?
Yeah, I did.
Did you do Night Runner?
I did. You just zoned out, man. I said all of them.
Wow, but you just rushed through those a bit too quickly. So the first 2 are Gear Chronicles.
Yeah, which are going to do nothing really. The deck is still going to be the best deck, but it'll bring it a little closer to the other decks.
I enjoy their reason, because they give a reasoning for these restrictions.
Well, not where I'm looking, but please go on.
Oh, this is on the official Cardfight Vanguard site. So the reason for the Gear Chronicle ones is... The restrictions for both of them is they've identified the cards allow Gear Chronicle decks to win very consistently. So they want to make them inconsistent. But the one for 7 Seas Night Runner, This is even better. We have identified that 7 Seas Apprentice Night Runner increased the stability of decks that stops at grade 1, and the influence caused to the tournament environment is not favorable for the game. Therefore, the above-mentioned restriction will be implemented.
You're not following how we want you to play Vanguard, so you're gonna get the ban.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But first, let's move over. Lizard Soldier Conroe.
Oh yeah, Strongroe is back.
He's the Mecha Trainer clone for Kagero.
No, Mecha Trainer is the Conroe clone.
I was making a humor for those who are truly educated.
Come on now. Well, I play both of those.
Pull up a
now
chair.
I can play
Pull up a chair. How many original Conroes do you have?
I have one, and I can't find it, and it was a double rare or a triple rare, and I can't find it anywhere now.
Why was it a triple rare?
Because it was released in set 1. Barkle and Conroe were both released as triple rares in the set.
Ah. I'm pretty sure I had a Conroe, but...
I gotta find my Conroe now so I can play this starter again. Oh man, I'm real excited. You can search out... Because, like, my grade 1 lineup was always the most difficult thing to fix, and now I can just play all of the grade 1s because I can just pick whichever one I want because it's a toolbox.
You can just Conroe it up.
Yep, and you can also... This is not like... I didn't realize this until today because like I haven't played it since before G Guardians were implemented, but he does say counterblast 1 and retire this unit. You may search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 or less unit and add it to your hand. So you can search a heal trigger out so you can denial Griffin.
Is it at any time? What kind of a skill is it?
It's activated. So retire this unit and counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 or less Kagero. Reveal it to your hand.
Oh, okay. So if you think you're going to need it on your guard turn.
No, ahead of time, yeah.
Yeah. You can't do it during your guard turn.
Yeah, no, but you can get a denial Griffin. Like you can search your deck for a denial Griffin, which is great. Now there's literally no need to play Belog now because you can literally just search out your heal triggers. Because the reason people played Belog was so they had the skill more often, because like you're unlikely to see all of your heal triggers in a game, but now you're guaranteed to see one of them to G-Guard with. So there you go.
So is there a difference between the English and the Japanese restrict list?
There's a significant lack of Sanctuary Guard Dragon hits.
All right. So
also, I think Urwatar, I don't know if I'm wrong, but wasn't Urwatar limited to 2 in Japan?
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to find out, and I can't...
Is that what you were thinking of too?
No, I was thinking of Sanctuary Guard, because they didn't mention Sanctuary Guard at all on the English restrict list.
Yeah, no. And that's because Sanctuary Guard was more of a dominant deck because they've had the Sanctuary Guard arc longer. We just got that card. So now it'll be a dominant deck again, but they gave us this list now instead of later, which we needed the list, but
Well, this is interesting because I'm looking at a list of banned, restricted, and etc. cards, and it's just not updated. There you go. That's why it doesn't have that stuff. All right. Oh well. So yeah.
Well, we should mention that this isn't effective until January 30th. So you still got some time to play your 4 TikTok workers, your 4 Urwatars, your 7 Seas Night Runner Rush deck, but you can't play Conroe as your starter until the.
I was gonna say you can play your 4 TikTok workers and your 4 Urwatars and still lose to 7 Seas Rush. For anybody who missed out on the debacle that was the way I like to think about this is it's kind of like if you think of like a tentacle monster and you've finally defeated it and jammed it down into like a hole in the ground and you're fighting to get the lid on. You think you've got the lid on and like 2016 is finally over and you turn your back and all of a sudden the lid flies off and like one last tentacle comes out and like whips out and grabs you. That was the Bushiroad World Championships 2016 held over this past weekend. Boy, it truly capped off a banner year now, didn't it?
It did. And what a year it's been. What a year.
So if anybody is not familiar with the why, besides the fact which I was making some humor of it that, it was held in the offices of Bushiroad in Tokyo. If you actually saw pictures of the actual competition, it was literally in their offices.
Was it really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Like, they just cleared out spaces in their offices. It was in the conference room. it was not any kind of special location or anything.
Well, that's disappointing.
Which is fine. I guess it's an honor to go and visit the Bushiroad offices.
I'd don't know about calling it an honor.
Dude, if Mr. President of Bushiroad called you and said, Jack Lieb, I want you to come to Tokyo and visit me in my offices, you would bow in honor for the honor of doing that. So don't fib at me, sir.
Do you think he speaks English, though?
Yes.
How would we communicate?
I believe everyone in Japan speaks English. So.
Okay. That's a nice assumption to make.
For anyone planning on traveling to Japan, just because I believe something does not make it true. So study a few Japanese words like where is the bathroom before you go there, and you'll keep yourself out of trouble. But for anybody who doesn't know, there's a lot of interpretation going on about the World Championships. A lot of people who are a little more charitable are saying that there were a lot of misplays. Many people who are less charitable say that there was a lot of cheating. And the worst part is that because the World Championships were streamed over the internet for people to watch, everybody saw the cheating happen and freaked out when, say, judges didn't call people on cheats, or when they were doing an interpretation of a rule and it took a very, very long time to make the final decision. But I want to step back to my first issue. Second issue. First issue being that they had it in their headquarters rather than renting a nice location to have the championship at.
Or even an okay location.
Yeah. The championships were supposed to be streamed on YouTube.
Yes.
And at the last minute, they said, because we're having some slowness problems connecting to YouTube, you have to use this Japanese app that you have to download to watch the championships. I'm sorry. There's this company called Twitch who will happily work with you to stream stuff, especially competitions and things. Who streams to YouTube at all anymore? Can you name somebody, Jack?
A lot of people do.
Streaming to YouTube?
Yeah.
Live streaming to YouTube.
A lot of people do it a lot of YouTubers do it as opposed to streaming to Twitch.
Wait, a lot of YouTubers, you mean dudes who sit in their mom's basement and smell bad and haven't taken a shower in a week? Because I don't think that's my interpretation of what Bushiroad International is.
No, you're right.
I'm pretty sure
I should have just streamed it to Facebook.
No, but yeah, Facebook Live. I've seen, every Pokemon competition that's streamed is streamed on Twitch. Pokemon has its own channel on Twitch. I believe I've seen Magic the Gathering competitions streamed on Twitch. Why would they not just have streamed? It is blowing my mind.
Why didn't they simulcast?
I don't even know what that word means. But,
so simultaneously casting to multiple platforms. League of Legends.
Fine. Let one of them be Twitch.
The World Championships were on YouTube and Twitch and their own website and one other class.
And for a media conglomerate that is as large as Bushiroad, for them to have made that fundamental error really disturbs me. Obviously, since I keep ranting on and on about it. But as far as gameplay goes, this is something that probably there's a few things, Jack, that you and I are going to disagree on. One thing that, and I've gone to a lot of card game competitions. I used to regularly go to Pokemon US Nationals. I used to go to Pokemon Regionals. And there is an expectation that if you are topping at one of these events, that you know how to play the game. and that you know how to play the cards that you brought with you. And it is not acceptable, and in my point of view, it's not a misplay. It's just wrong to show up and play cards incorrectly. Cards in the deck that not somebody handed you a deck and said you have to play this deck, but cards that you brought on your own and said, this is the deck I'm going to play. And I think at a World Championships, I mean, it's like literally like a soccer player going to the World Cup and kicking the ball into the wrong goal and say, oh, I didn't realize we switched sides halfway through. You know, I just... What's your opinion on that, Jack?
I think it's outrageous that you want these people to know how to play their own decks. I think that's outrageous.
Is that sarcasm?
125 billion% sarcasm. I don't understand how you go to an event, much less a World Championships, and not knowing how to play your deck. Like, I mean, I get it. You probably picked up this deck last minute because it beats Gear Chronicle, and you didn't want to have to beat Gear. You didn't want to have to deal with Gear Chronicle. However, learn how to play the dang deck before
learn
you
how
go
to read a
World.
card.
Yeah, or just learn how to read. That's okay too. Like either way, memorize it or read. Like either way. This is dumb.
All right, so the three main errors that I'm going to call them errors. Some people are calling them misplays. Some people are calling them cheats. I wasn't there. I didn't even get to watch the stream because I forgot that Japan is in a different time zone than me, and days are different days because of time and such. Dude, I'm not a Gear Chronicle player. I'm not an expert on time. I'm a Link Joker player. I'm an expert on religion. But number one, the Sabriz error. Are you familiar with the Sabriz error, Jack?
I'm not, so please educate me and everyone else.
So the Sanctuary Guard player, I don't have his name, he strode Sabriz, but neglected to discard a card from his hand in order to pay for the cost for the stride. So there are two ways to stride Sabriz. One, you can do a normal discard a grade 3 from your hand and stride, and it's just a normal stride. If your opponent is at grade 2 and did not ride in the previous turn in any way, so they've just been at the same grade 2 for 2 turns, you can counterblast 2 and you still have to discard a card from your hand. You don't have to pay a grade 3 or up to a combination for 3, but you have to counterblast 2 and discard a card from your hand in order to pay the cost for Sabriz. And whichever scenario this dude was trying to do, just did not discard a card at all. I can't remember if he was given a game loss. I suspect that he was, but it's if you're playing Sabriz, and pretty much everybody plays Sabriz, you know that that's the cost of playing the card. So that was number one.
When you get into a stinky situation, you generally have to use some Febreze. Or my bad, Sabriz. That's what I meant.
So that was number one. Number two.
Come on, that was a good one.
No, it wasn't. Which I find even more egregious. The Gear Chronicle player who did a time leap from a grade 1 GG into a grade 1 Malem. And this basically just went through. His opponent didn't call him on it. And also, can I say how disappointed I am that there were no women at the Bushiroad World Championships? But whatever. It was all dudes.
Women playing festival. Or women like in general?
Women playing. I don't know. They're probably women who work for the company, but just no women players. And I just find that incredibly disturbing about the game. But anyways, he time leaped a grade 1 into a grade 1. I'm a noob. I barely understand what I'm doing when I sit down to play Vanguard, and I know that you have to time leap into something 1 grade higher. That's the point of time leap. You're traveling in time to make yourself into something stronger. So that was just like, how nobody called him out on that was just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
And then the third one was the problem with Night Runner. And this was, you have two players who are playing the Seven Seas Rush deck, and congrats to them, they made it to the finals. So it was Seven Seas versus Seven Seas, and they tried to. So this is the best way that I can describe what they did. So Night Runner's skill is when Night Runner is in the it's a Forerunner card. When it's in the drop zone, you can pay the cost, which is to take 4 cards from the top of your deck and put them into your drop zone. So you mill 4 cards, which is what you want to do when you're playing Grand Blue. And then, as long as you have Vanguard with 7 Seas in its name, which, that if you're playing 7 Seas Rush, you're going to do that. And if you do, then you can call Night Runner to over your guard circle as rest. And then at the end of the turn, it goes back into the drop zone. The part that I didn't say is the part of the card that's the most important, which is at the beginning of your main phase. So the beginning of your main phase is only once. And once you start taking actions, it's no longer the beginning of your main phase. So basically, you can only do a Night Runner mill once at the beginning of your turn. You can't do a Night Runner mill and then have another Night Runner in your drop zone because you milled it, and then do another Night Runner mill and do that, say up to 4 times or 3 times or whatever the math calculates out to. Just because it's very specific that it says at the beginning of your main phase. So once you've done it, it's not the beginning anymore. It's so clear. It's so right there on the card, and it took them 40 minutes to adjudicate that.
But I don't know how to play my own deck, Will. What do I do?
Bring a deck that you know how to play, because you're not a noob. You're vying to be world champion of Cardfight Vanguard? Maybe? Am I wrong in that?
I think you're 100% wrong. I think this is a card game, and you're being over dramatic.
Okay. Probably. But here's another issue. I don't even know if they had money for prizes. Do you think they had money for prizes? I don't remember what the prizes were.
I have no idea.
Yeah, so I don't even know what the value of trying to cheat was. I would have just been happy for the trip to Tokyo and get some good sushi and ramen and takoyaki or whatever they eat over there. I mean, I like Japanese food. I like it a lot. I like Korean food a little more, but, Japanese food's good. So here's something where we might disagree, Jack. You think they're hitting 7 Seas because why?
Because this Bushiroad does not like decks that go out of the norm. And by norm I mean decks that ride to grade 3 and then stride and then play that way. Bushiroad doesn't like decks that are like that. They never have. They don't like people abusing the mechanic, like not abusing, but they don't like people utilizing mechanics in different ways to combo something that like you wouldn't think of offhand. So like every time this has happened, Bushiroad's kind of stepped in. So I had there was originally like at the California Regionals a couple years ago, there was a grade 1 rush deck that won the event. Fun fact, I know the guy that invented that deck. And after that happened, Bushiroad stepped in and they were like, or no. After that happened, Bushiroad like kind of took note of it and they were like salty about it. And they like, I think they like made a post about it on their Facebook or something. Then, so that's the first case of that. Then when ThingSaver, so back when ThingSaver came out, there was a ThingSaver Abyss deck that utilized both ThingSaver Dragon and Phantom Blaster Diablo Abyss, or not Diablo, Phantom Blaster Dragon, something like that. The grade 3 Legion, Revenger Abyss, that's what it was. And that utilized ThingSaver, and so it was a Royal Paladin and Shadow Paladin deck together. And then that was a good deck, and then Bushiroad was like, oh, just kidding, you can only play one clan. And then back when risers with Cat Butler were a thing, because Cat Butlers, the way it was worded, made it so you could restand your Legion. Bushiroad was like, oh, can't have that. Cat Butler's restricted. So they're just like not emphasizing creativity in their card game. They want all of the decks to be very cookie cutter, and it's just kind of a frustrating thing to have to deal with.
Okay, so in some of those cases, I might agree with you. In terms of 7 Seas, I don't agree with you. And I think it's because 7 Seas goes against the spirit of the game, which is you're really intended to ride every turn to get to grade 3 and to have your grade 3 be the main battle, and to have all of your creativity in how you craft that grade 3 battle and the stride battles and how everything goes together. And it's just really using or abusing the mechanic that, somebody can't stride because you stayed at grade 1. That's just going against the spirit of the way the game is supposed to be played. This is supposed to be a battle of strides versus strides, and grade 3s versus grade 3s.
I think you're wrong in that people just continued to complain about 7 Seas and they didn't try and adapt their decks. It's like if you play break rides or limit breakers as your grade 3s, like grade 3s that do stuff on their own, and there are a lot of powerful grade 3s that do that. There were no decks that came out that did that but just to deal with the problem of 7 Seas.
I know people who are playing limit breakers, but limit break is BT17.
Yeah, but adapting to survive is part of card games, and it's part of what makes card games so fun.
That's not adapting. That's going backwards in time.
It's adapting to the meta that is 7 Seas, grade 1 rush.
Well, I would prefer, and I guess it's just my way of thinking. I would prefer spirit of the game over taking advantage of whatever flaw may have cracked in the system.
And I'm not saying that the deck didn't need to be hit. I just think there was another way to go about it, as opposed to just like, oh, it's banned and you can't use or it's limited to 1 and you can't use it as your starter. Is like a little excessive in my opinion.
You only feel that way because they did that to your sweet Conroe.
No, I'm fine. Conroe's back now.
Conroe's back.
Yeah. Strongroe is back. Yo.
So one of the other things I've seen are some people on the internet saying, well, you should just expect cheating at top tournaments. That, the only way that people get to the top tournaments is by being good cheaters.
I'm going to stop you right there because that's a ridiculous claim, and I don't even want to discuss this point because that's a stupid point.
Is it because you're a cheater?
It's a moot point. No.
Is it because you're a good cheater?
I'm not a cheater. Like the fact that people are like, oh, you should just expect it. That doesn't. First of all, I don't think that's true. Second of all, I don't think that makes it okay. So like,
and I agree with you 100%. Yeah. People need to stop being defeatist and actually stand up for what is true and right, which is not cheating. And I just like, yeah. I know I sound like some sort of, warrior of justice, but I just really don't just accept that this is the way it has to be. Everybody does it, so I'm going to do it too. Or, there's no way to get ahead. This game sucks because people are just going to cheat. Not we, because I never played Yu-Gi-Oh, but people left Yu-Gi-Oh to come to Vanguard for that chill, no cheating vibe, dudes.
Yeah.
Oh. But really, don't be afraid to call out cheaters. And if you see it happening, especially in children, stop cheating early. If you see children cheating, just stop them early. Make them learn the lesson that it's better to live a wholesome life of honesty and true play. So that's my sermon for the week. Jack, do we have any emails? Have our listeners feeded us back?
I am loading up the email right now, but I just wanted to say, you kind of sound like you want to be a Dimension Police player.
I don't believe in justice.
You just made a pretty strong statement about justice. Yeah, we do have an email. This one is from Sony or Sunny P. and it says, "Hey guys, my name's..." How am I pronouncing this? Well,
go Sunny.
Sunny,
because if it's like Sunil or something like that, then Sunny is fine.
My name is Sunny, and I've been collecting Vanguard since Breaker of Limits. I say collecting because I lived in a little town, in a nowhere town, for a long time, and I had no one to play with besides my boyfriend. Hey, look, who doesn't like TCGs? So I always had to bribe him to play, and it was never that fun. Recently, I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and discovered a small Vanguard community at a TCG store, so I can finally play with others. Yay! My first week there, I made a nice little Gurgwit deck that wasn't too great because I didn't have the money to make it perfect. The members of the community decided to band together and buy me expensive cards like Radiant Gurgwit for me so I could put up a challenge and keep playing. I was happy that I told them I'd keep coming back, but I came back the next week, and then I was given the opportunity to assistant direct to play. So I couldn't come back for about 2 months because I was busy. Then right after the show was over, I got incredibly sick and had to go to the this is sad. And had to go to the hospital for a while. Here comes my question. I wanted to ask you guys about, ever since I got better, I've been afraid to go back because it's been months and I'm afraid they'll hate me for being gone and spending so much money on me. My need to play Vanguard has just gotten worse, but I'm not sure what to do. I'm terribly socially awkward, so I'm not sure how to properly explain myself or even if they will care. Should I brave the judgment and go back to the store, or should I just find another community? Well,
dude,
this is the pressing
well,
matter.
I mean, ultimately, the answer is you go back to the store.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But there's ways to go about that will sort of ease your transition.
Yeah, I mean,
back.
Explaining yourself, for one.
Well, but see, the thing is, like, if it was me when I was a youth, as I was quoting a movie there.
Yeah.
I would have had no option other than walking through the door and saying, "Oh, people, do you still recognize me for who I am?" And this is what happened. But this is the day and age of the social media. And I bet you I could go on Facebook right now and do a search for Columbus, Ohio Cardfight Vanguard, and there'd probably be a group.
You're probably not wrong. So there's a suggestion.
I could put a post in there saying, "Hey, remember when I used to come and play Vanguard all those months ago, and I was building, look, Columbus area Cardfight Vanguard, 103 members, and I was building Gurgwit, and you guys helped me out, and then I kind of disappeared. Yeah, my life got complicated for a while, but I'm ready to come back, and I just want to know who shows up on Saturdays, and let people say, 'Oh yeah, I remember you. It'd be great to see you again, and have you come play.' They would love to see you because this world needs more Cardfight Vanguard players who don't cheat, who just play, and come and have fun. There's always room at the table for another Cardfight Vanguard player. And yeah, you shouldn't feel bad. Dude, life happens to everybody. I took a break from Vanguard because I didn't have the money for TCGs for a while and had all kinds of other issues going on in my life. So it's perfectly okay. All the people at Dream Wizards, whenever I see them, they're still happy to see me. And I'm probably actually going to be going back to Dream Wizards myself on this Saturday just because it's the weird inauguration weekend. I don't think I've gone there in about a year, and I have no qualms. I know that the people there will just be happy to see me because they're just happy to have another Vanguard player in their midst. Do you have any other advice, Jack?
My advice is it may seem like it's tough, but once you're playing the game again, you'll forget all about this and you'll just be having some fun playing a fun card game.
Yeah, it's called Columbus Area Cardfight Vanguard. Just look for it on Facebook. I'm sure you'll see a few of the people from that shop right there. Or if you really, really, really feel bad, you'll find people who can recommend another shop to go to.
No, don't run away from your problems. You got to be brave and play Royal Paladin.
I was just going to say, even though you're not playing Royal Paladins, you should be brave. Our term of the week, Jack, is cheating. How do you cheat in Cardfight Vanguard?
Cheating?
I'm sure you know all about cheating, don't you?
I mean, it's not really. I don't, and I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But
what? Scandal! She told you stacked the deck with crit triggers. Would you stop being drama? Why not? You never told me nothing. No, we haven't. No, you didn't. We have not had this conversation. You never confirmed that. Well, that has been our term of the week. I'm just going to leave it all blank. And people can wonder.
All right. Are we actually doing this as our term, or are we?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the only appropriate term for this week.
Okay. Let's give me a second. Let's think. So, Will, what's our term of the week this week?
You're just broken. You're broken. It's cheating. We've already gone over this.
Okay.
Even though you made me destroy the tapes.
I don't know.
Cheating in Vanguard. So some of the things I've heard of people cheating is stacking other people's decks. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that can be done in any card game. And I mean, the only thing I can really think about that's cheating is just like bending like wording on your cards. So like if something says it has to hit the Vanguard, but if you're like, oh, it can hit any unit and your opponent doesn't bother to read your card.
Okay. No, let's go through this a few things, because there's some things that apply to all TCGs. There's some things that apply specifically to Vanguard. So one thing is very few, I'm not going to say no one, very few people can be the master of every clan. So one easy way to cheat is if you know that you're playing against somebody who's not familiar with your clan, claim that the cards have abilities and skills that they're not going to take the time to read, and they're just going to trust that you're telling them the truth. Or even try to like use a skill that requires GB1 before your GB1. You know, if they're not paying enough attention, if they're actually thinking about their next move, that's going to slide by. So kind of like taking advantage of your opponent's ignorance of your clan is kind of a cheat, especially if you do things that the cards don't allow for. So one thing I remember so distinctly, because it just like upset me so much. One time when I was playing Pokemon TCG, in order to win, this kid, but by kid I mean like 11 or 12 years old, needed to top deck a particular card, and and he was sitting next to me, while his opponent was paying attention to her hand and trying to pick what cards she was going to play from her hand, he scoped out the card in his deck, just very slyly, like lifting up his deck and seeing the cards.
How does one do that slyly?
He just like not holding his deck up, but kind of just like had his hand on it and tilting the cards up just enough where he could see what the card was.
So would you say his deck was more like leftward sloping or rightward sloping?
It was down and to the right.
Okay, so a right sloping deck. Got it.
Yeah, when he saw the card that he needed, he quickly shifted it to the top so that he top decked it.
A cheater.
That's like, but you could do that in Vanguard too.
Yeah, in any game you can do that.
So that I just really
magically you wonder why some of your friends magically get so many 6 damage heal triggers. That's why.
And another way, like in Vanguard specifically, is if you stack extra triggers. I mean, it's going to affect your ride consistency, but it's definitely something that could be done to cheat. But overall, our request from the Drive Check podcast, from our hearts to yours, is please don't cheat ever. Enjoy the card game for what it is. Cheaters never win, winners never cheat. That is the statement there.
Unless you're in Vanguard Worlds.
Oh!
Ouch.
So true and so painful. 2016 struck once again. All right. Jack, what do we want people to do?
We want them to send in listener emails.
Okay. Where did the listener emails go?
drivecheckpodcast@gmail.com.
Do we want people to review our podcast in iTunes?
We do. We do want that. So you can just give us a quick little search in iTunes. And just hop over and give us 5 stars and leave a little comment.
As many stars as you feel are appropriate. We appreciate any and all reviews. They help us all the time.
A little blurb.
In every way.
A little blurb, and they're just going to be like, oh, hey, I like this podcast, or whatever you feel like saying about this podcast. Just leave a little blurb. And then also, I'd like you to follow us on Twitter at drive_check.
Is that what I sound like to you?
That's what? I'm sorry.
Is that what I sound like to you?
No, I'm doing my own thing. I've never done this before, so I was trying to mix it up, but never mind.
Well, I had another piece of news before we went into the Twitters.
Okay.
It looks like I will be attending. What is that thing called? I told you guys about it.
PAX East.
PAX East. PAX East in Boston, March 10th through the 12th. So if we've got listeners up in the New England area who are around Boston who might want to have a little Vanguard throwdown at some point,
yep,
hit me up. Let's see if we can make some time for that. I think I'd have some fun playing some of our New England type listeners up there. But I'll give you more info about that as I get more details. This is kind of like a last minute thing that I found out that I'm going to be able to go. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. You're going to have so much fun.
Well, if it wasn't sold out, we'd figure out a way for you to go to.
We would. But it's sold out. So
we'll have to figure out some other event for you. But anyways, one of the ways to get in contact with us is at our Twitter, drive_check.
Yeah.
So feel free to tweet at that. And if you want to tweet at me directly, it's at WashInTheSink, the place where you wash things. You don't have to tweet at Cole because he's far too busy this week. So, Jack?
If you want to tweet at me, I am at drive_Jack. Thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of the Drive Check podcast. I plan to travel all over the 7 seas. At least I was going to travel all over the 7 seas, but then I was limited to 1 and restricted. No.
I even recognized that as the Night Runner flavor text because I thought it was so weird that he